Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show, Week 4 edition. Steve, we roll on with more big games to preview as we're getting closer to league play, and our record on the season is dipping a little bit closer to the 500 line because we both went 2-3 last week. We are tied 11 with an 11-9 record. So 2 games over 500, and we both picked the big game of the week wrong last week. We both went with Modern Day, and we know what happened.
Yeah,
The Centennial Huskies had other plans.
that is true. That is true. Centennial's good. So, that's how we had to do the rankings this week, right, Dan? Because, okay, Mission Viejo beat Santa Margarita. Santa Margarita beat Centennial. Centennial beat Modern Day. So when you do your rankings, number one's got to be Mission. Number two's got to be Margarita. Number three's got to be Modern Day. That's just logic.
And that is how you voted, right?
Yeah, you did too.
I did as well. So, um, and the Monarchs, and other polls have slipped. Definitely in the HS ratings poll, they slipped.
Yeah,
But
the
still,
four is it or something or five?
no, I think they're down a little bit lower than that. Let's see here as I have
Yeah, I got it right here, man.
yeah, hit us up
Yeah,
with
there's six.
6, yeah. But still a little bit higher, I think, ranked nationally by Max Preps. And
Sure.
I said after, Mater Dei lost that game, don't forget about the Monarchs. They're still talented. They
Yeah.
made a lot of mistakes and they only lost by 7 points. So
Yeah.
what does that tell you? That they are very talented, but they got a lot of work to do because
Yeah.
it's a little complicated, right, Steve? Because they
They're
also were
capable.
down 28-0 in that game.
Yeah, they're capable. They just have to, seven turnovers. You're not going to win. You're not going to beat good teams with seven turnovers. Is it a concentration thing? Is it a discipline thing? Is it all of the above? We'll find out because they got a big one this week, which I'm sure we're going to discuss.
Yes, that will be toward the end. All right, Steve, let's get into it, starting with Thursday action. And this is a great one to kick off a fine week. Sierra Canyon coming into Orange County, 5-0, taking on Orange Lutheran,
Yeah.
3-1. This game's going to be, again, Thursday at Orange Coast College, where you just covered the Lancers last week,
Yeah.
as they got a bounce back victory against Sarah of Gardena, number one team out of the Daily Breeze area. But this is a whole different ball game, I think, for Orange Lutheran because, like I said, Sierra Canyon, the Trailblazers, 5-0 with 4 shutouts. Steve, they've only allowed 7 points for the so far on the young season, but that is really impressive.
Yeah.
Orange Lutheran's been impressive with their schedule, with going to Florida, going to Arizona, and they've had some pretty great play in the second half has been
Yep.
impressive. Kind of been their trademark, and of course they've introduced us to new first year starting quarterback Reagan Toki. But on the flip side, Orange Sierra Canyon's defense, Steve, they have one of the best seniors in Southern California, defensive lineman Richard Wesley, who's committed to Texas. But that secondary also is just dynamite. They have an LSU commit in Finney, who's a senior, and they have a USC commit, Lockhart, who's also a senior, and they got some other guys in the secondary. So it's going to be quite a battle between Reagan Toki, who's got some great receivers on his side, like guys like Nico Bland, etc. But they got this great defense. Something's got to give. Who do you got in this one?
Sierra Canyon, Dan. I'm just so impressed by that schedule and what they've done with that outscoring teams 192-7. And they've got great athletes all over the darn place. They rushed for a bunch of yards, like 250 yards against Downey last week. And, Downey's not as good as Orange Lutheran, but they're still pretty good. Sierra Canyon back Jackson Stokes seems to be running the ball rather well. Got a good front line. They're going to have a problem with Marcus Fukutoa of
Yes.
Orange Lutheran. The sophomores blew me away last week in that
Yeah.
went over Sarah Gardena. But man, Sierra Canyon just seems like they just got too many guys. And so I'm going with the Trailblazers of Sierra Canyon to win this one.
Now, I thought you might pick Orange Lutheran since you just saw them. You were impressed. They
I
played
will.
very well in the second half. Once again, I thought you might pick them, but I too am picking Sierra Canyon. I covered this game last year, and Orange Lutheran rallied from a 19-point deficit in the second half.
Yeah.
Sound familiar? And they
Yes.
beat Sierra Canyon in Chatsworth deep in the San Fernando Valley. That was one of the best games of the year I saw last year. So, well, Orange Lutheran's ready for this game, with their schedule, but I think Sierra Canyon, they're ranked number 4 in in the Southern section by HS ratings. So this is a big time game. All right, let's move on to the Friday schedule, Steve. Here's a fun one to talk about. Laguna Beach 4-0 inside now the Orange County top 25, rightfully so, taking on host El Dorado, who's been on my radar and some other people's radar
Yeah.
this year. They're improved 3-1, and they're not that far away from being 4-0. They went to El Toro and lost in a pretty close game against a pretty good El Toro team. This one's interesting, Steve. You kind of have to do a little bit of deep dive. You can have some fun with this one. So last week the Breakers impressed with a 36-15 victory against Tesoro. I believe Laguna Beach was coming off its bye, played well. They've been playing well defensively all year. So you think about, okay, Tesoro, in their opener, they opened the season by defeating El Toro in a kind of surprising result because we all saw what El Toro did last week to Tribuco.
Yes.
And then El Toro beat El Dorado. So there's some common, connections we can make in this game. Who do you have in Laguna Beach at El Dorado?
Man, I went back and forth on this, Dan.
Okay.
And just like you, okay. So El Dorado's losses to El Toro 28-21. What
Yes.
looks what looks a little different now that El Toro just walloped Tribuco Hills 56-14. Looks
Yes.
a little different, doesn't it? And then Laguna Beach 36-15 over Tesoro. Man, this is a tough one. This is a toughie. But I'm going Laguna Beach, Dan. I'm going Laguna Beach to win this game. And oh, you're telling me to say that you're going the Breakers too. But, I wouldn't put it past Zach Lamonda, the coach of El Dorado, to come up with something on this game. I remember 3 years ago, I picked Laguna Beach to beat El Dorado in a playoff game. El Dorado
Yeah.
beat them. And, but I got Laguna Beach in this game. A coin flip game for me, but going with the Breakers, sir.
Yeah, I'm also picking Laguna. I think they got something going on defensively,
Yeah,
and they got a nice HS ratings. They're probably a little bit low ranked, maybe in Orange County. This is another good spot for them. Love to see them playing some little bit bigger schools. Of course, most schools are bigger than
Laguna
Laguna
Beach.
Beach.
Yeah,
So
everybody is, except
yeah,
for the privates.
so Coach Shanahan does a great job as
Yeah.
well. Did you check the score in this game last year? Did you know what it was?
No, what do you got?
Last year, Laguna Beach beat El Dorado 40-0. So I think it'll be closer, much closer than that. Like you said, a coin flip game.
Yeah, El
Um,
Dorado's better this year.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Laguna Beach has only allowed 22 points this season.
yeah.
All right, Steve, moving on. Let's see if we can differ here. I'm throwing it all at you, the kitchen sink here. Leuzinger, 3-0, including a forfeit win over Bishop Montgomery, coming off a bye because they didn't play Bishop Montgomery last week. Taking on host
Yeah,
JSerra, 2-2. Lions have won 2 straight after a tough start to the season. They're the team. They got blanked in their opener.
sure.
They had the tough duty to go at Sierra Canyon for their season opener. Lost 35-0.
Yes.
Then they lost a heartbreaker to Damien, top ranked team out of San Gabriel Valley. But Lions have battled back, won at Kamehameha in Hawaii, and then they went out to Oaks Hill in the high desert last week and won on another late game field goal by Noah Thayer, who's probably looking like our first team all county kicker. He kicked a winning field goal for that 24-21 win, about 4.5 minutes left in that game. And that was a quality win against Oak Hills. So now this Leuzinger team's pretty talented.
Yes.
They got a lot of guys. You remember last year, Steve, they beat Santa Margarita 14-13.
Mhm.
That was a big shocker for the Olympians who were at the home team at that one. They didn't face Trenton Mosley in that game, but that was still a huge win that set shockwaves through the through SoCal football. Leuzinger still, they didn't like win a CIF championship later or anything in the year. They maybe cooled off a little bit. They're in a tough league. They lost to Los Al in the playoffs, but they got some guys on that team, and they're pretty physical. So JSerra hanging tough. Who do you got in this one?
I think JSerra's figured it out. They lost a
Okay.
couple tough ones. They lost to Sierra Canyon, but Sierra Canyon's whipping everybody.
Yeah.
Lost to Damien, but Damien just beat Tustin last week. So that defense is
Yes.
pretty solid. 24/7, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 24/7,
Yeah.
Damien wins that game. So that defense is pretty good. So I'm thinking JSerra's got it figured out. Sophomore quarterback Gino Wang,
Yeah.
learning on the job. Seems to be getting it together. Got to protect that kid because he's a sophomore. Not great passing stats, but leading rusher last week. Fredrickson had 52 yards rushing. Gino Wang had 53. But I think JSerra's figuring it out, and I think playing at home is going to help them out some. Impressed by Leuzinger. Leuzinger has not played since August 29th. They had a bye in there, and then the Bishop Montgomery thing. Haven't played since August 29th. You get two things out of that. Either you're all healed up and ready to go,
Yeah.
or you are stale. And JSerra, I think, is getting some momentum, and I'm going with the Lions and JSerra at home.
Okay. I am also picking the Lions in this one.
No.
They are 2-0 with Gino Wang at QB.
Yeah.
So he's giving him a little bit, maybe a little bit more dimension as a runner. He rushed for two touchdowns last week.
Yeah.
He's got some receivers to work with, and we'll see how JSerra can hold up defensively. They did give up about 258 yards rushing last week
Right.
against Oak Hills, and I think Leuzinger's got a pretty good ground attack. So this could be a pretty tight game. We'll see
Yes.
how also JSerra can do with the penalties. Have been a little bit of a struggle at times as well. They're going to have to play a really good game because I was looking at HS rankings, and I think Leuzinger's pretty comparable to Damien
Yes.
on that
On
HS
the
rating.
ratings numbers, yeah.
So this is going to be another good challenge for JSerra. So, but we both agree on that one. All right, Steve, we roll on. We are 3 for 3 in agreement, but a couple good games to close it out. Also on Friday, Tustin, who we just mentioned, former top 10 team in Orange County, just outside the top 10 now at number 12. They're 2-2, the Tillers. I think they've lost two straight, if I'm not mistaken, against good teams like Long Beach Poly and Damien. And now we got Yorba Linda, the host team in this one. The Mustangs number 7, 4-0. So this is an interesting one, Stevie, because you got Tustin quarterback, sophomore. Aiden Edwards just got an offer from Michigan. He's got a talented receiver group of receivers. I know you saw them against San Clemente. He's got some receivers to work with, and maybe Tustin might have the more size as well. They might be bigger, more physical, or they might have more size on Yorba Linda. I don't know if necessarily they're more physical team, but they'll have the size advantage. And then on the flip side, Yorba Linda, I think one of the strengths, kind of under the radar strengths, is their secondary, and of course they're going to play balanced, and they are disciplined, and they're a battle tested team. Already have that win against Edison, but this is a great Orange County game. I think I'm pretty sure you're covering this for us. This is a great game. Glad to see these teams playing. Who do you got in this one?
Well, you mentioned Yorba Linda and their backfield guys, their defensive backfield guys. Thomas Knudsen, Onassis Lim at linebacker, really good receiver in Troy Roberts, Blake Thorpe, a really good D lineman.
Yes.
I like that defense over there at Yorba Linda. So, HS Ratings, which does a great job of predicting games, they got Tustin winning this game, but I am going with Jeff Bailey's Mustangs at Yorba Linda to win this game.
Yes, they do. I didn't see that they picked the HS Ratings picked.
Yeah, they're pretty good. That shakes me up, dude.
Okay. Well, I'm also picking Yorba. I've seen them play twice this season, and I was at the Edison game where they definitely impressed me. with their brand of football, with coming up clutch, playing disciplined, playing
Yeah.
together. Um, but I think Tustin's maybe played a little bit tougher schedule overall. With the San Clemente's, the Polys, and Damien. So I think Yorba Linda obviously played a really good game against Edison. So this could be a good one. I expect it to be very close. I think Tustin, they can play physical. They have a lot of good guys in the secondary as well. Epps and those kind of guys. They got some dudes back there. So, but I'm also picking Yorba Linda. That should be a great game.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, Steve. Once again, we're finding ourselves in agreement on a lot of games. I don't know if we're gonna conflict on this one. Nationally, this is the game of the week, and that's gonna be Mater Dei looking to bounce back from its first loss of the season and being supplanted as the number one ranked team in the country. They're taking on the number two team in the country, Bishop Gorman in Nevada, and this game is going to be in Las Vegas on Friday. It's also the Max Preps National Game of the Week. So if you haven't seen the Max Preps stream, it's very good with lots of replays and good commentators. I'm a big fan of their production that they're putting into these games. So if you want to see this game, check out that stream. But the big question is, how can Mater Dei bounce back, Steve, after committing 7 turnovers last week in their loss, 43-36 at Centennial Corona? Those 7 turnovers led to 30 points. Bishop Gorman, on the flip side, the Gales, they have never beaten Mater Dei since this series started in 2017. They're 0-4, so they would definitely rejoice with a win. They've definitely got some players, got a good quarterback, good safety. They got one of their better teams, and they're home. They're highly ranked, and but they're probably taking on a team in Mater Dei that's probably pretty upset. If they're feeling how they you could say they should be upset. They should maybe having something to prove, and they've seen some people jump off their bandwagon. Maybe that's enough to get them 5-0 against Bishop Gorman. But who do you got in this game?
Man, this is interesting. Is Mater Dei a collection of really good athletes, or is it a team? This is when we're going to find out. And with the Trinity League not far away, those games are not that far away. If they look vulnerable, they're not together, that they could have a rough time in that league. They've got everything it takes to have a winning team. Got what it takes to win this game, but can they get rid of the turnovers, which comes from one of two things or both things: lack of concentration, lack of discipline. We're going to find out if Mater Dei can get all that together and win. And going to Vegas that gives Gorman an advantage right there too. Gorman's a really good player. Eugenio at quarterback.
Yeah.
They got guys that can run the football. The sophomore Cole. They're averaging 100 some odd yards a game on the ground and a ferocious attacking D. But I'm going with Bishop Gorman to win this game. I'm very interested to see if Mater Dei can get it together. Is this the type of team you want to play to get it together? No. But if they win this game, then all of a sudden, then they skyrocket. But I got Gorman to win, Dan.
Yeah. I'm also picking Gorman. So we agree on all our picks, and I just
And we're
think Mater
firing
Dei.
up the Monarchs by picking them to lose.
Yeah. Hey, we both picked them last week.
To
I
win.
just,
And
yeah,
they
to
let us
win.
down. No, when we pick or I pick or you pick a team to lose and they win, they're all over us. But we pick them to lose, we pick them to win and they lose, they never call me and say, sorry for letting you down, Steve. They never do. Ever.
No email, no
Nope.
text,
Nobody said, sorry, we let you down, pal. No.
no direct message.
Well, I get some of those, but, that's from people in the stands.
Yeah, I think Mater Dei probably just I think they'll improve. I think they'll play better. But I just don't know if they can make how much they can make their improvements all in one week. I think they got
Yeah.
some personnel that they need to continue to develop and adjust They're trying to, they got some guys that they need to fill in a little bit more on defense. That's been a little bit of, I think, concerning for the Monarchs. I mean, they gave up 234 yards rushing against Centennial, who does run the ball really well.
Yep.
And I suspect Bishop Gorman should be pretty physical in this game. So I, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, the Monarchs are fascinating to watch because they are so talented. They're the reigning national champions. They're playing these high profile games, and they're everyone is trying to see how they're going to adjust and bounce back because what does that mean for the Trinity League? For some of these teams that we're talking about, like Orange Lutheran or Santa Margarita,
Yeah.
Servite. We already know Bosco's number one in the country, and they're
Right.
looking like the Trinity League favorite. But a
Yes.
lot
Right
of
now.
big OC teams are watching the Monarchs, thinking, "Hey, maybe we might have a shot this year."
Yeah. Margarita does. All of a sudden, Servite. After looking, that loss to Santana don't look so bad now. That they look pretty bad in that game, but they really hurt themselves a lot. I saw a film of Servite against Chaminade, and I go, "Oh my goodness, this team is pretty good. They've got all that speed. They got athletes. They attack the football on defense. Man, they get after it. They're pretty good. I've seen Olu play. They're really good. We talked about Marcus Fukuto'o, the sophomore defensive end who blew me away.
Yeah,
Uh, and then Santa Margarita, Carson Palmer's got those boys rolling. Even without Trent Mosley, the most explosive, dangerous offensive player, they beat Centennial. So
yeah,
dang, lots going on. And Dash Rafita, by the way, fantastic.
yeah.
Uh, and a guy that I want to talk about every gosh darn week when I'm with you, Lenny Ibarra at Los
Oh
Alamitos.
yeah,
I was writing down who I'm thinking going to win. So I wrote down Grand Hills versus from San Diego County versus Los Alamitos. Winner, I usually put a team down. I put winner Lenny Ibarra.
yeah. That's another game that we should. I think that was on my lineup that I three. Yeah, that was a name. That was another game I looked at as one to
Yeah,
discuss. It didn't make our top five, but that's a pretty good game this week. I'm glad you brought that up. Granite Hills taking on Los Al Griffins, trying to get to 6-0, Steve. And Granite Hills is the number six team in San Diego.
yeah. That's a really good matchup.
That's a good game.
Los Al's tough and they're rolling. Uh, Jackson Ranger,
Yeah.
the linebacker Lenny, Creason, the quarterback who Ray fences. Keep an eye on this boy.
Oh yeah.
He's playing well. So they got a lot going on over there, man. So
Hey,
Lenny Ibarra, dude,
yeah.
all
Yeah,
county
he's
first
looking
team.
like yeah, he's our all-purpose.
Yeah,
He could be all-purpose, or he could be he could be
linebacker, he can be something. Whatever
defensive
Lenny
back.
wants, he gets.
Yeah. Interesting, mentioned Carson Palmer and Santa Margarita, Steve. So the Eagles are on their bye this week. Do
Yeah.
you know who they play next week? When they come off their bye, it's a Saturday game in Orange County. Do you know who it is?
Let's see.
It's one of the
That'll be
teams
a
we have talked about
that'll
tonight,
be a non-league game.
today. Yeah.
Are they playing Sierra Canyon?
Nope, they play Bishop Gorman. So
Oh, jeepers, that's right. I forgot. We talked about that.
there's another comparison score for
Yeah.
all us OC pollsters and of
Yes.
course for the OC football fans where you know Santa Margarita has already gauged itself against Mater Dei by beating Centennial
Yep.
in that overtime classic that you saw, and
Yeah, that was fun.
now there's going to be this other game with Bishop Gorman as another comparison.
Right.
So um, there's some exciting stuff that it's just going to fuel the debate going into these league games in the Trinity League.
Oh, one more player to talk about.
Yeah.
Did you mention Margarita? Dash Fafita.
Yes.
Woo!
We had him first team all county, committed to Arizona, and yeah, I love the defense for the Eagles. They have a lot of great guys on a back, and they are a really complete defense, and they have an excellent defensive coordinator
Yeah,
in Coach Fafita.
yeah.
Steve
Steve
Fafita.
Fafita, great dude who did a really good job picking up and running that program for a few weeks there. Really good.
Yeah.
Good cat. Love that guy.
All right, Steve. So we agree once again.
Sorry.
We'll keep on trying to disagree. I'll keep working on these games, but it's looking like a great week of games,
Yeah,
and
fantastic.
we we'll be back at it next week. So for Steve Fryer, I'm Dan Albano, and thanks again for joining us on the OC Varsity Gridiron Show.